Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining this Friday for the weekly close live stream. Got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Do not get lulled to sleep by the market because there's still some opportunity out there. There's even some today. I am remiss that I've missed a couple things, but we're going to catch up on things, including the stuff we talked about last week because gold, Bitcoin, and a lot of other things are developing, setting up the way we talked about last week. So we're going to follow up on that. I multi-stream this every Friday, 4 p.m. on YouTube, TradingView, and Discord. Links down below. Come hang out. I want you all to join the discussion. I really like it when people did like last week and a lot of weeks where I have a lot of people come in and ask me symbols to look at. And that keeps me going. Sometimes I go even longer. I'll look at whatever you guys want to look at. But I, of course, have my list today, what I think opportunity is. And let me get those chats popped out and make things easy for me. What's up, Bass Koenig? What do I need to pump? There we go. So I was just looking at this earlier today in equity futures, S&P 500. I wanted to point out, let's just start off the top. This level, I talk about every week, but if you're new, you know what level I'm talking about. The 4155 S&P 500 futures level, which is the 50% from the all-time high down to the October low. This is weekly bars. I mean, look at how many, like, this level from September of 22, December of 22, January was the top of the early year rally. And then for the last month and a half, almost 2 months, price has been flirting around with this level. The reason it's so important, this is the level to go bullish. If we're going to actually have a confirmed bull market, we're going to break higher above this, let's call it 4,200 ES futures, or probably 420 SPY would be the equivalent number. But man, it's just been hitting up against it multiple times on a daily basis, even on a intraday 1 minute, 5 minute time frame. You can see even over the course of this week how we had news on Thursday at around 8:30 a.m. It spiked up to it, couldn't break it, came below it overnight last night, kind of bandied around, and then at the open, this is where it was holding to, the cash open this morning, and it set up a little breakout here. If you look at Ichimoku, that's one way to visualize it when the trend changes, when it comes on the other side right here. And so that breakout, once it broke these opens, the opening price range, that triggered this big move down. For those that don't believe that technical analysis is useful, I invite you to look at that. And then if we notice here around 2 o'clock, we had a dip. It basically inverted. Where did it do this? Well, it did it at the low from Wednesday. What does this set up? It sets up a auction zone, as my friends have started to call it, but it's really just a consolidation, whatever you want to call it, around this level, this key defining moment in the stock market. There's lots of talk of recession. I don't know where this recession is. People have been telling me it's been coming for 2 years, but from a technical standpoint, you got to wait and see. We are at a resistance, but you know, as choppy as it is, I don't see that much bad going on in the market aside from what the media says about it. So that's just off the top. Again, if you got questions, if you got things to look at, post in the chat. I'm going to go hit my high points that I have in my notes. Invite that discussion on Discord. Got a nice group in there today. All right. Yeah. Jen, did you find that link to that trading competition? I know I could find it somewhere. So they're trying to get me to do a trading competition. It's the CME Gold Trading Challenge. So for those that want to do it, the week of June 4th through the 9th, I think we talked about this in the live stream. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, who runs futures, sort of an advertisement for them to come trade their products and pay them commissions. They're doing a gold trading challenge. And that's interesting too, because last week we talked about gold. This is one of those things where I got to ask this today when I was talking about Hershey's, the stock Hershey's. Who would have thought since COVID low, basically the low of March of 2020, that one of the best performing assets would be chocolate? Now, to be fair, Hershey's is only up a paltry 149% from that low. That's hardly YOLO gains. But it got someone asking me, well, do you want to short this just to be a contrarian? And the answer is no. I have to definitely rein in my contrarian nature because I do want to go against narratives. I do want to go against the trend that most people are talking about. But I don't want to short this. I will, however, note that over the last few weeks, and this is kind of the highlight topic of discussion for this live stream, is gold. Several of my friends, I make no bones about it. I have a lot of libertarian friends. I have a lot of friends of every walk of political aisle, but I definitely like libertarians because they want lower taxes or no taxes. But a lot of them love their precious metals. They also love their cryptocurrency. Kind of nice Venn diagram there. And I started noticing in some of my friends' group chats that they were talking about gold. And we've been talking in the live stream about gold basically all year, really since last fall, because gold has been doing what? Gold has been going up. And if you go back to the archives, I'm not going to make you go through and find it, but basically my premise of gold, when people have come in and asked in the live stream, what do you think about gold throughout this entire trend, is, well, it's going up, it's going to retest the high. So let's just back up a little bit. I'll give you some insight into how I look at things. So every week we do a live stream and we talk about whatever people want to talk about. And one of the key things that would have been talked about back in September was the lows that gold was making. Let me zoom that out into a weekly. And in everything that I look for 50% retracements. How do I measure those? I look for the start of a major trend. Let's just do this. So if we go and start and we look at this being the big trend, basically you have this is gold in 2018. This is a weekly chart. And so it rounds about here. I'm going to look at this level, this low of August 2018, and we're going to make it boom to there, that high. We're going to capture that trend right there. That's 1628 gold. And so throughout 2020, as COVID is going on, as people are worried about the future, as fear runs rampant, they run up the price of gold. But then throughout 2021, while the stock market is going crazy, gold gets tanked. It gets brought down. And it almost gets to that key level, that key 50% level throughout 21, 22. But it takes a little bit longer for it to actually touch that level properly. And that's where I like to look for pullback opportunities to trends. Tesla's a great example of that. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. I've been talking about that for weeks. And even though it tries to come up, make a double top, that level still remains an important support level. And finally, as we go through the weekly charts a little bit slower, we finally get down and we touch that level. Boom. Do a little triple bottom right there. Hold on, let's see that right there, what that did. So right there, that level, 3 lows, September, October, and November. Boom. There it hits. And now the trend up begins. So there you get the pullback. So now we've got this other trend. And throughout these weeks, people have been coming in and asking me, okay, well, what do we want to do about gold? And so every week someone asks me about gold. I'm like, well, what it's probably trying to do is it's probably trying to retest these highs. That's what you have to assume when something is in a bullish trend. Now, I would have liked to have gotten an opportunity to play this trend on, likewise, a 50% retracement level. But as it came through, I had an alert around 1800, didn't quite get there. It's too bullish for that. Oh well. Now the problem happens when you start getting into the round of 2000. You can't go long just because everyone is talking about gold, how inflation is going to go crazy, blah, 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 blah. You can't as a trader because you know where your target is going to be. So your reward risk is not favorable because you can only make about this much if you were to go long, let's say in March of this year. But the downside is all the way back down to that 1600 level because this could very well just be a range that's setting up. Well, as we go forward on this daily, last Friday, we talked about it. Price came up on Thursday, May the 4th, and then Friday to close the week, close back inside this range, close below the red line, the Tinkinson, creating a setup for a spike. That's that indicator you see on here. I programmed it on TradingView. It's nothing fancy. It basically just tells me when you have a price action that clears a past high and then that bar or the next bar closes back inside the range. That is a false breakout that tricks everyone to think it's going up, but it's really closed back down. It's a stop run, it's a shakeout, whatever you want to call it. Happens all the time around news events. It just works, okay, as a sign of reversal. And then this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we got the little bit of a pullback up to get us into this trade. And now we're going to see if gold bugs are going to get stomped on. I know a lot of people love gold. I know it's been used for thousands of years, but from a trading perspective, this is a short setup. And we're going to look for it just like any other to come back to about 1850, let's call it. So that's the trade on gold as it stands right now. And that we put in last week, and we're just going to see if that develops. I did a little something with a GLD. No gold futures exactly, but if we go into June, where is that gold competition? See, Jim, my manager, he likes to put bugs in my head. So if I were to trade in the competition, what I would do is I would day trade it, but I would do it with a short-sided bias because I've got the trade drawn up with TradingView's tool right here, where there's your entry, the broad daily trade, the daily sentiment. Anytime that there's a trade on a higher time frame, my mind is going to be thinking, I want to be in the direction of that setup, that higher time frame setup, because price action works in fractal ways. So I'm going to be thinking, wanting to get into a contract or multiple contracts short. Now, how I'm going to do that is on a lower time frame with lots of smaller contracts, lots of smaller risk, and then try to keep a runner short, something we call the Valhalla contract. Let it ascend, but they end up dying a lot, unfortunately. So if we came into the June 4th to June 9th, it should be somewhere right around here. And at that point, I'd be looking for some sort of a short trade in here. So we'll see if that actually plays out. Anything could happen. It could come up here. It could stop out. It could go all the way back down. Who knows? But this is going to put us squarely in the middle of where I would have to say I'd project this thing to go over the next few weeks. So we shall see. That's what it looks like to me. All right. Aimer is doing his squirrel thing. Yep. All right. If you got anything to look at in chat, just post it in there. Aimer, don't clog my whole chat in case people want to ask questions. Thank you. All right. Thanks for joining me today, by the way. And thanks for the birthday wishes. Aimer was very clever to use ChatGPT to send me a very heartfelt birthday wish this week. This week was my birthday. Starbucks? Sure thing, man. We'll look at Starbucks, and then I'm going to jump into Bitcoin because I got a lot of things to say about Bitcoin this week. Starbucks is bullish. People still. Oh, that's one thing that's interesting. So on a short time frame within this trend right here, so from here to here, what I would have liked to see is looks like earnings dropped it down to this level right here. I would have rather it held that 106 level. This is getting kind of choppy in here. I don't think I would take any sort of a big long here because this is kind of like gold we talked about, Gig, where you have a bullish trend going on, but the obvious point that you might have it stop is if it retests this high up here. So basically this the high that it set in July of 21, that high of about let's see, 126. So that is where we're coming up to. So your trade basically would be to try to get long at this 106 and take it for a little bit more up to there. Could make it happen. If I was going to draw up a trade where I really want to shoot for that, I would probably make it look something like this because you're really shooting for that trend to continue and break the high. So that might be a good trade, but I like my risk at about 101. So essentially, if this fails out and you start to get down into this range right here, that's not good for your long trade. But you got to remember that this thing is coming up to resistances. It could keep going, but that's how I would structure a trade in Starbucks, technically, just to keep in mind that. Natural gas, yeah, sure. Let's see, NG, I'll use NG futures. Well, this looks like a shit coin, basically. You got to remember what happened in natural gas. Everyone thought that because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, that we were going to have a super cold winter, that there was going to be constraints. There's this huge narrative all through 2022 that natural gas was going to be in great demand. It was going to blow up in price. Well, it didn't. We had actually a rather mild winter this last year, and so all that natural gas that people bought futures on, it fell off. And it's funny that we can see something like this and think, oh, that looks like a cryptocurrency, because again, it just has to do with people's emotions. That's what price is a reflection of. So natural gas right now, well, it's basically come back down to the 2020 lows. I don't think that the demand for natural gas broadly, see, now you're getting me into fundamental. I like talking about fundamentals. I would rather just do price action, but fundamentally, I think you're at a low price. I think as a contrarian, I want to buy things when they're cheap. And that fact that it's come back down to the 2020 low range, basically where it started there, I think it would be a good buy. I would look for, here's the weekly chart. And so what I like to look for as a sign of reversal, this red line right here is the Ichimoku Tenkan-sen. It's basically my trigger line. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just the 9-period 50% level. Is you really want to see price close above that level. That's my first sign that a trend reversal has begun. And so on the weekly, we still haven't managed to clear that yet. On the daily, it probably has. The daily, you still have a trend going down. So really, what I would do, if I were you, if you want to go long natural gas, is I would look for price to kind of get above the Ichimoku cloud right here, which is going to give you your first sign of a trend reversal. Maybe get into the $2.85 or $3 range. Set yourself an alert. Add alert. We'll give you a PD Cardoso Trade TV user crossing bullish the Ichimoku cloud. I'll give you credit for that if we get it. So that's what I would look for over the next couple. I want to get some kind of a sign that this thing is reversing, because otherwise, man, don't you hate it when things just do kind of like that? If you want to jump it, you want to get in, that's fine. But that's going to be probably a good trade if we can break the trend up. Because I mean, what does this thing do over the course of its life? It goes through these long trends from, there's 2012 up to 14. So multi-year trends it can start into. And so what you need to see is the start of it on a daily time frame. I don't think you're going to do very good with weekly options on this, basically, is what I'm saying. All right. What is K-Web, Aiken? I've heard of Ripple XRP. Let's look at XRP. What is the latest on their SEC battle? I mean, like all crypto, I mean, it ain't doing much. Good, you're welcome. It ain't doing much. Let me talk about Bitcoin, then we'll talk about some of the others, because really and truly, what goes on in Bitcoin is going to be that tide that rises all the boats. Because there's actually a lot going on in Bitcoin recently. So, price action wise, it's very simple. We've been looking at this for the better part of the whole year. For those that ask when to buy Bitcoin, my tongue-in-cheek asshole answer is you buy it when it breaks out of the Ichimoku cloud in January. You buy it on the banking crisis FUD when it pulls back to the Ichimoku cloud. Also, the 50% trend on March the 9th or 10th. Those are the times that you buy Bitcoin. If not, you don't. But there is a setup happening right now, almost there, from the low of the banking FUD dip down to the 50% of the trend. Remember this trend that was sort of pumped up by Twitter, talking about how Bitcoin in 3 months was going to be worth $1 million because reasons. That narrative, I don't remember the guy's name, but he was a former CFO of Coinbase. He bet someone $1 million that Bitcoin in 3 months was going to be worth $1 million. It's nice for him to do that because he probably owns enough Bitcoin that making that tweet, making Bitcoin go up a few percentage points, was worth more than $1 million for him. But that tweet came right around here, where, this is where people start coming into my stream, coming into my Discord, and asking me like, "Do I buy Bitcoin now? It's up a bunch." Yeah, it's up a bunch. Why are you asking about it now? Why aren't you asking about it, tweeting about it when it's doing excellent technical setups throughout the year? You're tweeting about it now after it's gone up a bunch. This is a dangerous freaking time. I can look at this and I can just see the emotion of people in here, like, "Ooh, do I buy it? Do I buy it?" So a bunch of people listen to that guy's tweet. They read really well articulated Twitter threads about how inflation is going to make the dollar go to zero and Bitcoin is going to be the only money. And that gives it a little push, make everyone think that they did something right. And now where are you? Well, now you're pulling back to the last level of support to keep this trend going, which is a nice confluence of the highs from February, that start of the year push right before it tanked to that low, which, by the way, it tanked because of the banking crisis. It tanked because Bitcoin is a risk asset. People bought Bitcoin after the fear was over. They didn't buy it because of the fear, as a lot of the media likes to report on. And it's also pulling back to that 50%. So the level is 25,280. Let's call it 25,300. So this is going to be the level to watch for probably this weekend, going into next week. See if it can touch it. See what it can do at that level. And this is going to be the last opportunity. And I say it as last because if it doesn't hold this level, then the trend itself, the bullish trend of this year, 2023, is going to start getting in danger. It's going to be in a bad situation because now you've broken that key level and you've started that key daily Ichimoku trend breakout, which signaled the way up, and over the course of years and years and years of Bitcoin's history has at multiple points signaled either bullish trend reversals or bearish trend reversals. So man, it's Been talking about it for weeks, been waiting for this thing to happen. This level is going to be really key. So watch for it this weekend. If you want to go YOLO, hashtag this is not financial advice, I'm going to be looking for a setup, like a 30-minute spike or something like that. Take some low risk and maybe see if we can get it back up to here. But if it doesn't hold out, my stops are going to be really tight. And that's going to be it. That's going to be it. And a lot of my Bitcoin maxi friends are not going to like it when I tell them you need to sell your Bitcoin. This is the whole time this year that this has been happening. I've been doing Bitcoin for a very, very long time. It has reminded me so much of the 2019 cycle. In 2018, you had the big old bubble that took it up to its crazy all-time high of 19,000. And then you had the bear trend. A lot of people bought in here thinking that that was it. Okay, that's it. It's fine. How much lower can it go? Which is very similar to, let me clean this up. It's very similar to this all-time high trend, and then people coming back down here and saying, how much lower can it go? Well, 50% lower was the answer then, and was the answer very recently. Bottomed out. Everyone saw this pump up, got really, really excited, thinking that, okay, this is my chance to hit that all-time high again. But then what did you have? You had a major economic event, COVID, which brought it all the way back down almost to these lows right here for another opportunity. And then you finally had the big move up. And so once again, this is shaping up that same way. You've got this sort of little FOMO bear market pullback. I was looking honestly for it to come up to maybe about 32,000, maybe in the 40s. I was trying to be a little, generous there, because really what would have made a lot of sense to me, because that's the way I look at everything, is a 50% pullback of this bearish trend. That would have been nice. It still can happen, especially if it holds this level this weekend. That's your optimistic play. But if it doesn't, you got to be aware that you're probably going to have a chance to buy Bitcoin cheaper again. Bear market pullbacks. There's a few of them. There's 5 of them, which people wanted to ignore. But the minimum pullback for Bitcoin from an all-time high before this one was 75%. That was the minimum that you could expect. And I looked for, and that's why I told people 17K, because 75% was about 17K. Yeah, it was basically, which took us to the FTX collapse. And then the largest pullback, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the largest pullback was 95%. I actually got to live through that one. That was about $20 down to $1.94, I think it was. Yeah, I was dumb, put my money into magic internet money. I was stupid. Stupid to buy Bitcoin at $20. Man, I'm telling you what. And 95% takes it down. Well, we don't want to talk about that number. That actually 95% would actually put it down below Michael Saylor's liquidation point. That can't happen, can it? But more conservatively, 85% is that nice round number that everyone probably has in their head of 10K. Who knows? I don't know the future, but I do know the past, and I do know the present. And there's a few things happening in Bitcoin that I don't know if people are aware of, but let me fill you in. This right here is a mempool transaction count. Now, the mempool, for those that don't know, is the memory pool. In other words, it's the transactions that are waiting to be confirmed by the blockchain, by the miners of the blockchain. If you make a transaction in Bitcoin, it has to go in a queue, has to be confirmed. Unfortunately, due to reasons, the number of transactions is still only at about 7 per second, which is not that much when you think about it at all, considering that there's about 78,000 transactions that are waiting in queue, and that number is going up. And the reason that number is going up is because of a thing called ordinals. Now, what ordinals are to simplify it, NFTs on Bitcoin. They implemented a change to the protocol some months ago. Don't remember the exact date, but you can now create an NFT of up to about 5 MB. You can actually put a 5 MB file onto the blockchain, which will be stored forever, which is pretty valuable. Costs you depending on the size, but you can do a simple short ordinal. At least you could a few weeks ago for $15. Let me see what the price on ordinals are right now. Bitcoin ordinal creator. There was a website that I don't remember. Website. Jen, can you look up a website? I don't remember what it was, but there was a website you could create ordinals. It would like generate it for you. So let's see here. So basically, and let me look at what the Bitcoin transaction is right now. Bitcoin transaction fee. What is the fee right now? Average transaction fee is about, well, it was $20 2 days ago, and it's about $9.70 right now to do a transaction in Bitcoin. And that's because of all this extra usage that's going on. And I'm not saying that this is causing Bitcoin to go away. In fact, it's a new use case of Bitcoin. But a lot of the focus of Bitcoin has been on money transfer, remittances. And I got to hand it to the maxis for just doing themselves a massive disservice, trying to prove that Bitcoin can be the one true coin, putting all of these things into a smart contracts, NFTs, and money transfers. Oh, Lightning will fix all this. But it's old technology. They refuse to iterate. So that's the fundamental problem that's going on right now. I'm not saying that this is going to tank the price, but it's definitely creating a lot of headaches for the different use cases of Bitcoin. Now, the flip side of that is that, let me see if I have it right here. The miners are making the most money they've made in many years because the transaction fees are so high. And so it's actually good for the security of the blockchain. That encourages people to run Bitcoin mining nodes. It's not as lucrative unless you have a massive industrial operation, but it's doing pretty well for those that do. And so this is not going to kill Bitcoin, but this is what's going on in recent weeks, basically over the course of last few weeks. As a trader, I'm looking at this chart of number go up, and it's not getting better. And so I don't know what kind of resolution they're going to have and what effect it's going to have on the price itself or the usage. But it's interesting. I think people need to be made aware of it. Magic Eden, that sounds right. Yes, I think this is it. So we can create, I think this is where people sell ordinals. Yeah, big NFTs basically. But here's the thing. I've never liked NFTs up until this point. I've never liked the idea that I would pay for something on an NFT, as it were, on any of these chains like Ethereum. I mean, you could put an actual image file onto Ethereum chain, but you pay a lot. But with ordinals, you're actually putting data up to, like I said, 5 MB. You can put a video file in the Bitcoin blockchain if you want to. You can put a whole image, and it's stored there in perpetuity. That's a good thing and a bad thing. I like it because, I mean, that actually does have value. Having something permanently stored out there, that's valuable. Having a URL stored on Ethereum, that's not valuable. Just get out of here with that. The image is linked to some other thing on the internet. That was always dumb. But the idea that you could say, have an encrypted file, perhaps, that some data of some sort that you wanted to store for generations to come. You wanted to hand this off to your grandchildren with something in your will, and there is a letter for you that I'm not going to trust on paper. I'm not going to trust in an email, but I'm going to put this message, this information, this poem or something. I'm going to put it into the blockchain, and it's going to be there as long as Bitcoin exists. That actually has some value. So I actually like ordinals. But going back to this, the problem is Bitcoin is not currently handling it well, and it's not designed for it very well. So it's both bullish and bearish for Bitcoin in a lot of ways. And I don't know how the developers, the people that actually iterate the Bitcoin code, are going to solve this, because there's always been this battle between the miners and the developers in terms of scaling. The scaling debate, which has been going on for years, led to the Bitcoin creation of Bitcoin Cash, which didn't succeed. Everyone still wanted the original Bitcoin. The idea was you need to scale Bitcoin so it can handle more transactions, not get into this sort of problem, so that it can get bigger. It can be implemented in more use cases. But the problem is, the fundamental problem why this can't happen is because the miners, like I said, the ones that have all these industrial setups, all of these millions, maybe even billions invested into their ASIC, their was it asynchronized something integrated circuit, basically computers designed specifically, like they're made with the silicon only to mine Bitcoin in its current form. They've already invested all this money into their rigs, and if you made a tweak in the block size that could hold more transactions, all of that hardware that they invested in would be worthless to them. And they're the ones that get to vote on changes. So are they going to vote themselves out of business for the benefit of scaling Bitcoin? The answer thus far has been no. So I don't know what the future is going to hold for this, but that's for the developers and the miners to kind of battle it out and figure out. But that's what's going on right now this week. The ordinals, I think ordinals came out. When did they come out? When did ordinals hit the blockchain? When did Bitcoin ordinals start? They started January. Oh, this year. Well, there you go. That's basically where you started seeing this rise in the transaction pool. It's a lot easier to see it here. There's some spikes in here if we look at like a 3-year chart, but really the more aggregate rise has started going up this year again. So things were kind of settled here during the bear market, but hey, you know what? This could actually be bullish as well, in the fact that more people are using it and paying more for the miners to make them some ordinals. Anyway, that's Bitcoin this week. Let's go back to the chat. Make sure. Do I stream the same daytime every week? Why, yes, I do. I stream every Friday at 4 p.m. On TradingView, YouTube, and Discord. Links down below. Come join our discussion, our trading community over on Discord. All right. NFTs are the Beanie Babies, but the technology is good. I think it's a good idea. And like I said, the thing I like about the idea of actual data storage, I mean, if you pay someone like Google to store your photos off your phone in the cloud, you're getting value out of that storage. But storing a picture of a monkey when the actual picture of the monkey is on a website somewhere and you just have like the URL to that picture of the monkey, that URL does not have value. That's just text, and it's about as valuable as text is. It's not even private text that only you know or few people know. It's public text. It's dumb, but if you actually stored the monkey picture on a decentralized database that is immutable, cannot be changed, and is spread across the world and not going to disappear, that has value. That actually does have value. I believe in the value of that. It was a really good idea to get started, the idea of digital assets. It was not new to me. I am a longtime video gamer. I've never bought video game stuff on MMORPGs. I've sold a lot of. I've especially sold a lot of WoW Gold and EverQuest Platinum over my career of a gamer. Made a lot of money on that. Actually paid for a trip to Amsterdam back in 2005. So I understand that people will pay a lot of money for digital assets. Things that, when people are like, why do people pay for something they can't hold or can't touch? That's never been hard for me to understand. But actually pay, when you would pay money for that, super sword of plus 20 flaming on the the game, it would let you kill the dragon faster. It gave you actual intrinsic value. You could actually put a price tag on it. You say, well, this sword will make me kill the dragon 20 seconds faster. How much money is that extra 20 seconds of your life worth? There you go. How much money is the actual data on the blockchain worth? It's not zero. But a URL that anyone can see, that value is zero. It's bragging rights. I have this text. I can make this text move from one place to another. Woo. All right. Let's do chats and stuff. Let's see what's on there. Yeah, RuneScape. Dude, the idea that digital assets would have value, that digital money would have value, abundantly clear to me. Abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. All right. CSGO, is that Counter-Strike or is that a stock? Because I was just talking about gaming. I think you're talking about Counter-Strike. Yeah. That's Stone Pilot saying that in Training View chat. So, all right, let's see. Hey, thank you for joining us, Alex. Oil, U.S. oil. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, I'm sure, dude. I've seen the news articles of someone paid. Well, I mean, Second Life. Second Life was a big gaming platform all through the last. I mean, I don't think anybody plays it now, but people were paying tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for virtual property. I mean, that's the whole premise that Zuckerberg was trying to get into, the metaverse, where you would buy land in the game. I mean, that is coming. That is coming. I just don't think we really quite understand how it's coming or what company is going to deliver it to us. I think a lot more people are realizing that living your life entirely online is maybe not such a healthy thing. But for those that choose to, I mean, yes, I mean, it's abundantly clear to me there is value on things. In fact, I have come to believe, and it was, what's his name? What was that? The guy that had the debate with SBF. Debates, is it Voorhees? Yeah, so Eric Voorhees and SBF had a debate, and they were talking about, regulation and taxation, and how SBF, prior to, getting the hammer of regulation now being levied upon him, he was all about regulation, and they got into a nice debate about email. Like, should government be able to restrict email? Should government be able to keep people from sending ideas to each other? And it got me to really thinking that value, the idea of value, is an idea. I'm giving you this idea of value that's worth something to you, and then you can then give that value to someone else. Let's just say that it's a funny meme. I email you a picture of a funny meme. It makes you laugh. That brings value to your life. You can share that to someone else and give them a laugh as well. We've shared value to each other. Now, let's just expand that a little bit. Why is me giving an idea of value to someone else any different than exchanging an idea? And do we want ideas to be restricted? Do we want ideas to be taxed? No. We should not tax the exchange of ideas. We should not tax the exchange of value. People should be able to transact with each other freely without censorship or theft. I believe that. And it stems from that debate that they had. And so, yeah, the idea of exchanging value to everyone, I know that government needs to pay off its debt, its grubby little hands on our transactions with one another. But I should be able to walk up to someone and say, I like that thing you have. Oh, really? Here's something of value. I'll trade you for it. And two people make that happen, and no one needs otherwise be involved. Don't know if I'm going to win that debate, but that's what I believe. And cryptocurrency has always been that for me. It has always been the way for people to use it as a tool for human freedom. And whatever cryptocurrency holds to that allows people, that increases human freedom. And one of the ways that it does that is through anonymity, which we all know Bitcoin is unfortunately not anonymous. It is semi-anonymous, but really it's not anonymous at all. The only thing, well, not the only anonymous cryptocurrency, but the one that has the most staying power that I still believe in is Monero. I got asked this week at my birthday party. I've had a lot of my crypto friends, because that's been my social circle for the last decade. They asked me like, hey, Monero, it's not doing that well, is it? Oh. I was like, well, you know, the Monero that I have, it's still anonymous. It still has that value. That value has not gone away. The price of it may be different, which really it hasn't changed very much. But every dollar that I put into Monero, well, the good thing about it is you don't know how much I put into it. It still has its value. So Monero is the only one with proper function. It is the only thing that has kept to why I got into cryptocurrency when I did. I got into it years ago because I was a big libertarian. I think that it should be a tool for human freedom. People should be able to come meet someone on the internet, talk to them, exchange their ideas, and then be like, hey, I want to exchange something of value to you. They should be able to do that. They should be able to do that. I do believe that. So, all right. We're getting the last few minutes, so if you guys have anything to look at in chat, post it, and we'll take a look. I still owe someone U.S. oil. Let's take a look. It's going down. Oh, I still have some notes to go through, too. Okay. Let's see. I think I drew this up. This is U.S. oil. This is CFDs. Are you talking about U.S. oil as in... is this what you're looking at, Angie? Because I think that what I typically look at is CL, crude oil futures. And we've been looking at this for a couple of weeks now. It's still holding, they look about the same. So we throw out, just because it's convenient, that crazy April 2020 below zero. And if we mark it off from zero up to the high of 129.96, it has been holding this support, this 50% level of, let's call it 65. And U.S. oil, which I think is the CFD, looks about the same, except it actually does have that done for us. So let's draw it up. And yeah, so you got that level, 65. There's your answer, Angie. 65 a few days ago. What was it? Yeah, we talked about this in the live stream last week, because it was May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. May the 4th be with oil, because it held 65, and that's going to be the level. So what I'm going to assume is that we've got a nice little double bottom at level. It's also got some nice confluence back here. It should hold here, and then poof, I got to be long oil. So that's still, and if it breaks it, then we'll come back and revisit it. But this is a good setup. This is a good pullback to a large multi-week, going all the way back to 2020. It's a multi-year 50%. That's a good level. That's a good level to be looking long off of for oil, for sure. KWeb is CraneShares China Internet Index ETF. I am very, very distrustful of anything Chinese, and have been for all of my trading career. Aiken. And the reason is because you have to remember that China is not a capitalist country. They don't actually like the idea of capitalism. They have they did a number on Alibaba for just that reason. Jack Ma got way too powerful, and he had to go into hiding. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We didn't hear about it here in the West, but a lot of people were trying to buy into Baba. I remember in 21, and man, they just got creamed. Nothing wrong with the company. Nothing went away. It's just the I can't remember exactly what happened, but the Chinese government. What did the Chinese government do? Something the Chinese government did throughout 2021 to rein in the potential power of Jack Ma and Alibaba. It was just getting too big for their britches, as we say here in the South. Chinese stock market has had a lot of pump cycles. I just, and a lot of the Chinese citizens that invest into the stock market, they've lost their life savings, chasing big bubbles, and the Chinese government almost wants that to happen. It seems like over the years, I've just seen a lot of sketchy stuff come out of Chinese stocks, and I don't really care to touch Chinese stocks. I just don't. It's just an extra layer of risk on top of whatever price action that I'm trying to play that I just don't want. There's other stuff out there to trade, so there you can find some good opportunities. But I'm not particularly interested in Chinese stocks. Sorry. Cardano, ADA. Crypto bear market continues. Crypto winter continues. I mean, these are all bags. And the use case of Cardano, I don't know exactly how much better it did NFTs, but, Bitcoin doing NFTs is eating its market share. Like I said, you've got to get out of this crypto winter for any of these bags to go up. Matic as well. I think I've looked at these. These are pretty common ones that I'm sure people were very, very, very vested in over the years, and the money that you spent on these, that you're sitting there looking at them not going up, that's your tuition in hype. This is not over. They didn't close the markets. They didn't close the stock market. They didn't close the crypto market. We are just living in a market cycle right now, especially now during these warm months. And that's what I tell people in the chat. And actually, I probably shouldn't say that because I say that to myself and I miss opportunities. But during the middle of the year, the warm months, markets tend to be very, very slow, choppy. And if you're trying to actively trade too much, you're going to really piss yourself off. Doesn't mean there is an opportunity. But we're not living in, and I don't need to tell you this, we're not living in 2020. We're not living in 2021. We're not living in number go up, money printer go burr. We will get back to that at some point in the future. But you're in this period of the market of a malaise. And that's the case with all crypto. There's nothing I can say, there's no lines I can draw or anyone can draw that can make this stuff go up. This stuff only goes up for one reason. Money comes in. Unfortunately, and no one's really been able to, say anything to change my mind, there's no business use case in production right now for, in widespread production for crypto. In other words, people aren't using crypto in their businesses to make them more efficient, to produce goods and services. They're just not. There's nothing that really exists. At least if there is, tell me. I'd love to know about it. I'd love to know some business that was leveraging cryptocurrency to make themselves more efficient by producing more goods and services or creating more goods and services. But as it stands now, the only way that cryptocurrency goes up is through money inflows. And so if you are concerned about Bitcoin or Matic or Cardano or Ethereum, if you want them to go up, there's only one way for that to happen, for you to buy it. So why aren't you buying it? Why isn't everyone else buying it? And there you have your answer for why number doesn't go up. So you either need a low interest rate, risk on type of sentiment in the world's minds where people have thrown care and risk to the winds, or you need a business that is surrounding this cryptocurrency where people are actually producing value, producing wealth. And then you'll see it go up. I mean, Amazon, which, by the way, once again, is remaining one of the best investments of 2023. It's come to a multi-decadal 50% level at 94.20, and snatched that right up for myself and also my family members, because this company's not going away. But it also had quite a bumpy start 2 decades ago. Now, even I was a little too young to really care about the dot-com boom and bust, but Amazon, as it was, had its own minus 95% correction from the high down to the low. Now, whether you bought it at the high, the low, or anywhere in the years between, there was ample opportunity for you to make money. But the key thing about Amazon is what? It's not just a website with a .com, which a lot of people thought back in the .com era was what gave value. Oh, we have a .com. We have a website. Give us money because reasons. The reason Amazon's still around and the reason Amazon is what it is because it has a business around it. It leveraged the power of the internet to make buying everything more efficient for both sellers and consumers. Now, it sucks for all the other retail people out there that are going out of business because it's taken away their market share. But you can't just have a cryptocurrency with a good idea. People have to use it, and people have to use it to save money, produce more goods and stuff. There has to be value created. And right now, I don't see it in cryptocurrency. And I'm not just saying that because we're in a bear market cycle. You got to answer that question for you and everyone else. I mean, a lot of people were buying cryptocurrencies on these narratives that, oh, this is going to be use of cryptocurrency. And that's fine. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. But there's a lot of companies that you don't see anymore that just don't exist, that came about to incredible valuations during the dot-com cycle that just went away. Probably 90-something%, 95, 96, 97. I don't know how many of these companies went away. And that's going to be crypto. 90% of the cryptos out there, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, will be gone. But there's going to be a few. There's going to be something. There's going to be something. No doubt about it. There will be something that 20 years from now is the thing. And it will seem kind of obvious then, but just note. Note how unobvious opportunity is today in 2023 in a bear market. But be looking for those opportunities. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the opportunities. Like I said, Amazon opportunity this year. What is the major, most hated thing this year in markets? And I got to talk about this every week because we were talking about oil earlier. Let me preface this. Those that watch my live stream every week, you know what I'm going to talk about. Back in 2021, oil was, went below zero in futures. Biden came in. He was going to make everyone go to electric. He's going to force it. And so what happened? Well, ExxonMobil energy prices just plummeted off a cliff. Get out of oil. Dirty energy was the most hated thing. You're a dinosaur if you're using dinosaur blood. And so the price of ExxonMobil fell below its book value. You could sell every asset that ExxonMobil had, and you could maybe come up with about $54 a share. And it was trading in the 30s, 40s. It's kind of obvious. And so the narrative here was oil is dead. Oil is going away. It's going to be all electric. No one's going to drive gas cars ever again after 2021. Well, narratives. So what is the narrative this year? Banks. But Norok, the dollar's going to fail. But Norok, People are going to pull all their money. We're going to go into a recession. Cool story, bro. What's the cheapest asset out there right now? I mean, there's probably something else, but banks. Find a bank that's not going to fail. Find a bank that's not going to fail. I like Truist. I think Truist has been much maligned. Their loan to deposit ratios are a lot better than I think are being, way better than these banks that are failing. These banks that are failing, I mean, you can count them pretty much on one hand now. Recently, it was PacWest, there was FRC, there's Silicon Valley Bank, and then there's Silvergate. Maybe there's a fifth one, but that's out of hundreds. It's FUD. Truist is at 7% dividend yield right now. I mean, I'm talking my bag here. Hashtag this is not financial advice, but look for things like this. I know everyone bought into crypto back in 2020, 2021 because the narrative was it's the best thing ever. And that was wrong. That's the wrong time to buy something. Now everyone's telling you that banks are going to fail. Don't put any money into them. Just like they said, don't put any money into energy. Do the opposite of what everyone's talking about, and you can potentially make some money. All right. Last chance for let's see. All right, that was my rant. I'm done with my rants. Let's do a lightning round of charts. RCL, my boy's favorite cruise line, doing well. My choice, which is apparently the less good one, NCLH. That's the one that I've got on my list over here because I bought this at I think 12.51. Still positive, but clearly not doing as well as Royal. Let's look at Pepsi. That is a blue chip for you. Oh wow! I mean, who would have thought? And this is a lot. Let me show you. Pepsi is going up. Pepsi Go Moon. I mean, do I want to buy it here with some weekly call options? No. Because it's going to pull back at some point. But this is why you buy shares and not options, to have this kind of stuff in your retirement portfolio or just your trading portfolio. I got a lot of stocks. I got way more stocks than I have options. I actually don't have many options at all. I have a lot of stock, and I just kind of leave it alone. But sugar water, no, it's not MicroStrategy. I won't look. Actually, what is MicroStrategy doing? Yeah. Get liquidated. Get licked, Michael Saylor. Monster energy drink. Like sugar water. Remember Hershey's? We looked at that earlier. I mean, consumer luxury goods. It's either consumer staples or luxury goods. I mean, in bear markets, I mean, I am remiss that I don't have more in all these things. But when people are afraid, sector rotation. I need to be talking about sector rotation because this is what this is about. When people are fearful, when people are expecting a recession, they tend to put things into consumer staples. What that means is things that consumers are going to buy no matter what the economy's doing. You're always going to buy toilet paper. You're always going to buy toothpaste. You're always going to buy Coca-Cola. You're going to need these things probably whether you have a job or not because they're not that expensive. They're big companies of scale. Plus, these are companies that can raise their prices a little bit with inflation. So these are good choices. Now, are they a great deal right now? No, I don't. I don't think so because they're up so high. The contrarian in me has a very, very hard time buying stuff after it's gone up so much. But yeah, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. What's Coca-Cola doing? I do have a lot of Coca-Cola. Of course, I wish I was in Pepsi, but doing okay. Nice pullback here back in February. I probably talked about. But Pepsi has broken its all-time high. Is that the all-time high? Yeah. Well, to be fair, Pepsi is more than just sugar water. It's also like Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and things like that, but still. Junk food. People, hey, look, but me, I prefer my sugar-free Cokes. That's just me. All right. So yes, to your question, I am gig sugar water. Sugar water is good to buy. Yes, Kroger. Kroger, it's a good thing to hold. All right, let's check up here. CPRT. Small level right there. Awesome. And now it's breaking the high. Okay, so Casey. All right, are you pushing? All right, let's look at this. Long entry at 82. Stop loss of $4.60. You just want to kind of leave this to go. But yeah, you're playing. Basically, Casey here, he's playing a breakout of this past high. I like this because you have a nice. This is a weekly chart. You have a nice solid closing bar. What you want is you want to have next week close above this 80.56 level, and then you're golden. You're good to go. You're really good to go. In fact, one thing that would be kind of cool is to see if you maybe over the next week kind of come back to touch and confirm that level before going up. I'm going to set myself an alert. Thank you very much. Casey Lewis, breakout, pullback. Thanks, Casey. All right. Let's see. Dollar. All right. Let's Disney, Starbucks. Okay, well, let's do Disney, and then we'll finish with the dollar. So Disney is a yes. I went to Disney 2 weeks ago. Let me clean all this up. Went to Disney with my family. It was great. I think there's a lot of moving parts to Disney. They're in the culture war. They make a lot of stuff. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. But I don't think they're ever going to go away. And I had a really good time at their theme park. Everyone there was happy, including the workers. I'll put it this way. I helped start some with my siblings, custody accounts. That's stock accounts that you can set up for children that are under 18. And rather than give them presents, which they're going to play with once and probably throw away, I have been giving them stock. And in addition to Amazon, Disney is one of those where I firmly believe that in 18, 20 years, when they become adults and they care about money and want to spend it on beer in college, they'll appreciate that their uncle gave them stock in Disney. And so that's what I'll say about Disney shares at this price. In the 20-year time frame, I think it's a really, really good buy. I do. As far as technical setups go, got nothing for you here. It's just one of those, you know what? They're going to be around for a while. The mouse is not going to what? Dollar. Oh, man. Just when I get a technical sign that I know and believe in, it comes and throws me for a loop. But the reality here is that the level 102 on the dollar index, the DXY, you've got closes below it, this 50% that I look for and everything. It's telling you that it's broken and the dollar's going down, but I'm not altogether surprised that you're not going to get a little bit of a poke up here. I'd be curious actually to see where this bullishness is coming from. Let's do this. Hold on. We need to look at the major components that make up the dollar index. The two largest components are euro dollar and dollar yen. And so, which we know that the dollar yen is the yen's underperforming because they have not been raising their national or their currency interest rates. Euro is the largest component of the dollar index, and so it's getting back below its level 109, so that makes sense. And yeah, the dollar yen's not doing very much. I need to sit down and look at some of the other ones because I don't know if someone came in the chat here and we talked about it, but Brazilian real, the Brazilian currency, I'm getting more and more interested in the Brazil's economy. I am. But that's the topic for another discussion. Thanks, everybody. TLDR, we're probably in a bull market. Wait for this pullback over the weekend on Bitcoin to 26,300. See what happens. Every Friday, do this at 4 p.m., including next Friday. And as long as Jen keeps whipping the crack. Links below. Discord, TradingView, and YouTube. Come join the discussion. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Trade wisely.